Hey guys, what's up? Fan here, and today I want to bring you guys a video on the most recent patch notes. So this is going to be on the March 6 PTR patch notes, and what I'm going to be doing in this video is quickly going through all the balance changes on the heroes, and I'm going to be giving you guys my first impressions about all of the balance changes. So this is meant to be like a quicker video, trying to aim for around 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm not going to be touching on the talents. Only going to be touching on kind of the core kits of the heroes, so keep that in mind. If I did go over all the talents, there's just far too many. It would take over an hour, and it's PTR, so it could change at any time. So without further ado, let's get started here. We have Gale as our first hero. Obviously, Cho'Gall is getting some pretty exciting changes in this PTR. Now you see all these damage reductions for Gale. This is basically because Blizzard is adding a new trait for Cho'Gall, and the trait is the Ogre Rage / Ogre Hide, I believe. So if Cho activates his D button, Cho takes 25% less damage boost, 25. He gets 25 armor, so he gets 25% damage reduction against all sources. And if Gale activates the trait, then Gale gets 25% more damage. So this is kind of just to account for that. If you do the math, it's roughly the exact same number as before if you add the 25% more damage to the current number. So my thoughts about Cho'Gall are basically, when I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be really hype and it was going to be really good. However, after reading the numbers and thinking about it, I'm more leaning towards it's going to be more or less the same as current Cho'Gall, at least the base kit. So the way I think about this is, like I said before, Blizzard's nerfing all of Gale's numbers approximately by 25%. So you have to have the Gale Ogre Rage on just to get the same numbers that are currently, like pre-patch. So the same goes for Cho. His HP got nerfed by roughly 25%, so you have to have the armor on just to get the same amount of HP as the Cho right now has, before this patch. So that's kind of weird to me, because if you're doing it that way, then the Cho'Gall player has to play things perfectly, right? Just to be able to achieve the same number or like the same number values as the current Cho'Gall. And no one's going to be able to micro that trait perfectly, so my instinct is that it's going to actually be slightly weaker than current Cho'Gall in terms of pure numeric values for both damage and life. So I'm hoping that there's some talent that makes him stronger, because otherwise I think he's going to be the same as just Cho'Gall currently. Now, I do want to touch a little bit on the level 20 talents for Cho'Gall, because there's a lot of hype around these, and it's like, oh, so cool, right? The Will of Gale and the Will of Cho. Takedowns permanently increase damage bonus of Ogre Rage by 2%, and the Will of Cho, I believe, is takedowns permanently increase the armor of Cho by 2. So that's obviously really cool. A lot of hype around that. It's like, wow, you can infinitely stack, and eventually you'll be really broken because you'll have like just infinite damage or infinite armor. And while that's technically true, I think about this and I really don't think it's that good. Basically, in heroes, there's already quite a few heroes that have these insanely strong level 20 power spikes. You can think about Nazeebo with Vow Infection, Tassadar with Twilight Archon, even Hammer with Blunt Force Gun, and there's some other ones that have really good 20 power spikes. And I think this is not actually as good as any of the ones that I have mentioned, because while it does get strong eventually, it doesn't even do anything when you get to level 20. The other talents, as soon as you get to level 20 and you skill the talent, you are instantly much stronger. Your power spike happens the second you scale the talent. For these, it's you skill the talent and absolutely nothing happens. You're still exactly the same as before, while 8 other heroes in the game do get a power spike of some sort from their level 20 the second they skill the talent. So at level 20, this is not a power spike. It's like a power drop for you because you get nothing. You need takedowns for this talent to start taking effect. So you get nothing until the next takedowns you get. So I don't really like that because, everyone else is getting a power spike and you're getting a stacking talent that does nothing, which is going to make it even harder for you to get takedowns. And at level 20, like 1 or 2 kills is just game over. So if you get like 3 kills or more, the game is just over. So it doesn't matter that you got those kills. And if you get like 1 kill, like it's like 2% additional. That doesn't matter enough. Like how many kills are you gonna need one at a time for this to actually be relevant? So this feels like kind of like a trap talent to me. And the second thing is in heroes it's just far too risky to draft for level 20. Like I said before, all those heroes that I mentioned before, like it's very risky to take those talents sometimes. It's very risky to take the heroes just based off of the level 20 alone. The heroes have to offer something else. You never really draft for level 20, even if this is a broken level 20 talent. Very rare that you will be willing to draft solely for level 20 because so many other things can happen level 1 to 19 that make this too unreliable. So moving on, we have Illidan. Metamorphosis will now clamp, just a nice quality of life change. Like if you click meta too far, it's just going to cast instead of walking now, which is I think a very useful and nice quality of life change. We have summon Ultralisk changes for Kerrigan. It cooldown counts while the Ultralisk is alive, and it's increased from 70 to 80 seconds. Now, this is arguably even a nerf to Ultralisk, even though it looks like they're trying to buff it, because Ultralisk rarely lives for 10 seconds in like high-level competitive games. So if it doesn't live for 10 seconds, it's a nerf, and Ultralisk is not good enough even. It's just nowhere near good enough. It's going to need substantially larger buffs if you want it to be taken over Maelstrom. Rainer's Raider is not, nice health buff, nice damage buff. Hyper is like the default Rainer ult right now, especially after the Hyperion bug. Everyone takes Hyper nowadays, so probably just trying to increase diversity. It's pretty cool. No big deal though. Zul'jin, just quality of life changes, not much there. For Varian, we have the Taunt. So health, you lose 20% extra health, but you gain 15 armor. That should be roughly the same in terms of like actual EHP. So not too big of a deal there. I don't mind that too much. Just kind of like Blizzard trying to implement armor on all the tanks. Banner of Ironforge, a slight nerf, I think. This probably to compensate a little bit for the armor stacking. I think it's not that big of a deal. While Banner of Ironforge is the most popular one, I still think Banner of like Dalaran, like the AP banner and the movement speed banner are very underused, and I think they can be used to great effect as well. So I'm actually kind of happy to see this because I think the other two are very underused, and it'll be interesting to see if that stays the case with this nerf. But I mean, even if you want to use Banner of Ironforge, it's still fine. 20 to 25 is not a huge deal. Quality of life changes for Asmodan, not too much. It's nice now if you can kill a hero with Taste for Blood, but it's not going to make or break the game. Got some Gazlowe changes here. Once again, quality of life changes for the turrets. You can actually aim them now, which is nice. More quality of life changes for the W. The Explodium charge is now 6.5 cast range to 10. Now that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's going to be useful, but that's like the size of your entire screen. That's like an insanely large cast range. I'm sure you're going to find uses somewhere. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem that useful, but let's say you have like an ETC Malfurion in your team, which is like a pretty common combination in pro play right now. So what if you have like a ETC Malfurion Gazlowe, right? So you slide someone and then you root someone, and the second the slide goes through, you just chuck your Explodium charge under them. and that could be like a 6 second CC chain or something because the cast range is absurdly long. It's always gonna happen. You're not gonna have any trouble doing that follow up. I'm sure there's more useful things for this cast range too. Just nice quality of life. Last thing is Robo-Gobo. So no more PvE damage. Now it gives you just straight up 100% basic attack damage, and it gives you an active, which gets you 30 movement speed and 30 armor for 4 seconds. Now, I really like this change because no one used Robo-Gobo in like higher levels of play because you get punished too hard for just trying to PvE all game. Like there's no team comp that can just 4v5 the game. The PvP aspect is too important for that to work almost anywhere in higher level games. And this changes Robo-Gobo to be more PvP, which is necessary for winning the video game. So I really like this change. I think it's going to make Robo a lot more picked. 100% basic attack damage, like just straight up, it's going to work against minions and heroes. And the armor and movement speed, like you can use that in team fights. I like this a lot because it makes Gazlowe more of a like bruisery type of hero. Like he can be considered more of like a melee hero, like with a 100% increase in attack damage and like a short movement and armor buff. Like he can actually maybe take up the slot of the melee in certain fights and be on the front line and actually do damage kind of thing. So, looking forward to trying that out. Don't know if it's going to be good or not, but I think it's a good change from the old Robo-Gobo because PvP is just far too important, and that was the main problem with Robo-Gobo, in my opinion, in the past. Not going to do the talents. Alright, so Anubrak, spell armor slightly reduced, basic attack damage slightly reduced, no big deal. Biggest change is, typo. Blizzard, please. Alright, biggest change is the burrow charge cooldown reduction from 16 to 12 seconds. That's a 25% reduction. It's pretty relevant. Not to mention, it's your escape and your initiation. So you got a buff to your escape and your initiation. Very nice. I think it's going to go a long way towards making Anubrak a viable solo tank. That and this change. So this change, targets that get hit now have their movement speed slowed by 25% for 2.5 seconds. I think one of the biggest problems with Anubrak before this is it's just not scary compared to like an ETC or a Muradin or a Varian post-patch or pre-patch. Like against all of the other stun tanks, you're scared. If you're within range of their stun, it's very easy for them to hit that stun and then you're dead. But if you're in range of an Anubrak stun, it's like very thin. Both of them are like line based. It's extremely easy to dodge both of them. And like even if I'm in range of an Anubrak with 2 stuns up, I'm just not scared. Not nearly to the same degree I would be if I were in range of a Muradin or an ETC or a Varian. So I think this changes that a bit. Like it adds more threat to the hero, where it's like if you get hit by that thing, it's gonna be a lot harder for you to disengage because you're slowed as well, and it's just gonna add a lot more threat, which I like. That threat plus just yeah, I think that threat alone is enough to help him a lot in terms of becoming a more viable solo tank. I do like the spell armor reduction. If you read on in the talents, they reduce his spell armor by quite a bit, so that's always nice. I didn't really like the 75% permanent spell armor. It was just rock, paper, scissors, and draft. If you have 2 mages and the enemy team drafts a Nubrak, you just lose the game because you can't touch him kind of deal. I don't really like that. I like that you can actually counterplay even if you're disadvantaged in draft, because, that's just way better gameplay style in my opinion. So I like the way that Anubrak's going. Moving on, we have Artanis, quality of life change, not that big of a deal. We have Arthas. Really like Arthas's changes. He has some slight health buffs. And the thing that I like the most is the Frozen Tempest changes. So now it slows enemy move speed and attack speed by 10%, up to 40%. It already slowed enemy movement speed. Not sure by how much percentage, but the attack speed thing is really nice because this used to be a level 13 talent, and it's just really good against auto attackers now. It fits his style of play really well. Like it's going to be really good against melees now because you're always going to be like up in the melee's face anyways, and you're always going to have Frozen Tempest on anyways. So the attack speed slow is baseline. I think is extremely relevant, and that's going to make him quite a bit stronger than he is currently. It's just against like an Illidan or something, it's just going to be so good. Even against like a Vala or something, if you can ever get on her, she's essentially useless. Yep, I like that change a lot. Army got cooldown reduction and just health increases and stuff, which is very nice as well. It's going to make Army a lot better. But yeah, moving on, we have Cho here. Alright, so I already told you most of my thoughts about Cho in the call section, just kind of grouping them together. It's pretty cool that they're giving some of the like talents to Cho'Gall baseline, and I think that's going to go a long way towards making Cho'Gall better. You have this talent, whatever it was, this used to be a talent where you ignite people in your W and you heal for the targets you hit. So just baseline now, which is good. Room Bomb now continues its full path. That used to be a talent, and now it's just baseline, also good. So yeah, I think these changes where you just give it a hero talents baseline are just like straight up buffs, and it's gonna make the hero more viable. Like those. Not much else though. I already told you guys the rest of my thoughts about Cho'Gall. Moving on, we have Johanna, 25 physical armor, so more tanky towards auto attackers. But less tanky towards mages. Not sure if I like that or not, honestly. Johanna does have Unstoppable, which is nice, but yeah, I don't know. Like they remove Spell Shield as well, so like Joe is gonna be very vulnerable to mages now, and I don't know if I like that. Like it's kind of the opposite direction of the noob change, where it's like now you really don't want to pick Joe into a bunch of mages. It's gonna make the drafting a lot more important, and yeah, I'm not sure if I like that. Drafting is already important enough as it is. Yeah, it's just not. I don't know. It doesn't seem that fun to have everything decided in the draft. So we'll see. I don't know. I think this is gonna make Joe a lot weaker, like a lot weaker, because you draft Joe primarily these days because he's like an unkillable frontline that can go into creep waves and clear the minion waves, and he can just frontline pretty well. But with these changes, if the enemy team has mages, I don't think he can frontline very well anymore. I think he's just gonna get chunked out really hard by mages. So that's a bit worrying, but we'll see what happens there. Tyrael, more spell armor, max HP reduction. I saw a few posts on Reddit. It looks like Tyrael's going to stay about the same in terms of overall survivability. The biggest change for Tyrael are Imposing Will removed. Like Imposing Will was one of his best talents. At level 13, it slows attack speed and movement speed if you hit him while he's shielded, and Hardened Shield is also removed at 20. So two big changes, two big nerfs to the hero. Before you guys freak out too much about Tyrael though, this is a hero that like consistently gets back into the game just due to his kit. So I'm just gonna put it out there that he's still gonna be played even in pro play occasionally, even with these nerfs, just because that's the type of hero he is. Yeah, I remember a long time ago he had Cast Aside, and when that was removed, people said he would never be played again. But eventually he rose to prominence again, and then like because of Sanctification and stuff, and Sanctification got nerfed, and then he still started getting played. Like this is just the type of hero that keeps getting played no matter what because his kit's so strong. I feel like as long as he has Holy Ground, as long as he has Sanctification, and his current core kit, he's gonna be played no matter what. And yeah, I guess that's it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope my first impressions were, helpful to you guys. Obviously, it's a first impressions video. I could be wrong about anything, so take everything with a grain of salt. But hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on the matter. If you did, make sure to follow the Gale Force YouTube here, and you can also follow myself personally at FanHots on Twitter. And yeah, that's about it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit him with the Smexy stare.